Okay, today is a special day. I'm here with Heather Bailey of State Street Global Advisors. Heather, thank you so much for spending a couple minutes of your time with us today. You've been up to so many amazing things.
Well, thank you, Sheryl. Thanks for having me on today. Really excited to be here. Love all of your work and the most recent work we've done together through State Street. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And before we jump into the series that honestly yourself and your colleague Justin Wilson spearheaded, to give credit where credit is due, let's talk a little bit about how did you decide, like, what are you passionate about that you thought, you and Justin thought about doing a series for your clients and prospects to really serve them during this difficult time? Can you give us an insight a little bit to, your passion and what it really inspired you to do that?
Yeah. So, I'm in the business of helping people. I know it seems kind of contrarian that I'm in the financial services industry and we help people, but I'm a senior retirement director here at State Street and have done this role in various capacities for well over 10 years. And we help people retire, which is it's the American dream. And so I've always been a helper. And I think when we were hit in March with this pandemic and everything changed for everyone and everyone everywhere was doing hard pivots. And I think that we just said to ourselves, like, we've got to do better. We've got to be better for our clients. We've got to offer something that's going to help them get through this time period, not only just get through it, but be more successful on the other side. And so that's really what kind of led to us working with you. Of course, Justin heard you through a tangential organization originally and brought you to my attention, and you and I and State Street had many long conversations about how we could take what you do and scale it for our clients. And that's where the Skilling Up series was born.
Yeah, and before we get into, and it's been such an honor to do that with you, but before we get into the series, let's talk a little bit about you and why are you so passionate about helping people retire? Because the one thing that we were talking about before we came on is that what's one thing that's going to help people get through Q4 and remotivate, recharge, and recommit here in Q4 and going into 2021 is to really dig deep and get very purpose driven. And so what really drives you to be passionate about helping people retire?
Yes. It really goes back to not to be sappy or, bring up, childhood, but, I grew up in a single parent household, and my dad still managed to save and beat into his daughter, me, and his son, my brother, that you've got to save for retirement no matter what. The first time you get a job, just start saving. And that's what I did. And then I didn't plan to end up in the retirement industry, but I kind of just happened into it. And then I became very passionate about it, doing meetings with employees at various companies and talking to them about investments and education and that sort of thing early on in my career just showed me even further that there's so much necessity for this and there's so much need for help in the retirement arena, and not enough people are prepared. You bring into that Social Security, and not to get nerdy, but it's just, there's a lot of unpreparedness, and money is, it is one of the most important things in life, but it's also probably one of the least important things in life at the same time. And so there's just a lot of education and help that needs to be around it. So I love the industry and I love what we do. And for lack of a better way to say it, I love 401k plans because they help every American achieve that dream of retiring.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a really important point to bring up that during this unusual time in history and this incredible time of disruption, that what is going to also differentiate people is the ability to build relationships virtually and to nurture relationships virtually and foster new relationships virtually. And an incredible important piece of that, and also a piece of that that I really want to honor you for, is that it's so obvious that you care. It's not that you have a product or service that you're just trying to sell or trying to promote. It's that you care very deeply about what you're doing. And honestly, when it comes to world-class performers, they're very purpose driven. And so that's one way, when we were talking about the Skilling Up series, is really trying to drop people into why they do what they do. And now that you can really raise that awareness, really connect into your core values, that starts to dissipate the fear and doubt, about what it has to do to dream big in your industry and how to help more people. So that is one thing that, without me even cueing you, you're doing quite amazingly. And whoever interacts with you, and your clients are really lucky to have you there on the East Coast to represent them.
Oh, thank you. Yes. It's an important, that's an important point you bring up right there is, and we've seen it with our clients all over the nation. Our clients are financial advisors and consultants who work with employers to establish 401k plans and help their employees get to that retirement goal. But this series is applicable across any profession. I mean, any profession, stay-at-home mom to any industry, technology, services, you name it. The whole world has had to really truly engage and dig deep. And the folks that are digging deep and doing the work, I think, are the folks that are seeing success across the board, family life included.
Yeah, time. So for people that are watching, that they're like, well, what are they talking about? What is Skilling Up? What on earth are they referring to? Why don't you then kind of tell everyone a little bit about what the series is about, the intention that you have for it, the hope that you had for it, and also how it's still living and still contributing to that.
Yeah, so maybe a good way to kind of get into this is, we at State Street, in our little niche of the business, really focus on helping our clients. So that was a key for us. Was we felt that this series takes this a step, takes what we do and helping our clients build and maintain a successful business, continue to grow, and then one day either sell or otherwise give the business to someone else. So we like to work with our clients to make sure they're successful in all parts of that. This is a natural extension for us because skilling up during this period is going to make or break anyone, right? If you're not skilling up right now, you're going to be left behind. And so that's really what kind of inspired us to engage with you and build this series. So the series is a 4-part webinar series. It is still living on the website here, scrolling beneath us, www.ssga.com/skilling up. And it's a 4-part series. There's an introduction to the series that Sheryl does, and that's 45 minutes long. And then the other 3 parts are 30 minutes. It's part of Sheryl's, hallmark series. We focus on clarity, confidence, and influence. And those are really the 3 keys in establishing or in skilling up in whatever you do. But in skilling up, you have to have that clarity, the confidence, and the influence. And each of those 3 things are very different, but they're paramount to the success that you're going to have. And so you walk us through in each of those segments how to gain the clarity. What do you want? And then how to build the confidence. And it's not just your confidence, it's what do you need to do in order to get where you're going? And then influence. Who do you need to influence? How are you going to influence them? And each one builds upon the last one, and you end with this beautiful framework for scaling up.
Yeah. And so a couple questions. What are some of the comments that you're receiving? And what do you think are some of the consequences of not having these tools and skilling up right now as people are kind of falling into the holidays and then possibly stumbling into 2021? I mean, so what are some of the comments and what do you think some of the consequences are, if you don't skill up right now?
Yeah. I mean, the comments have been amazing. I think we touched well over 100 or maybe even more clients and throughout the series. And the comments have been amazing. I mean, they want access to Sheryl, of course, all the time, which we'll have to talk to them about that. But they, have already seen ways that they needed to engage. It's not even improve, just engage in their life or in their practice, in their business, and really build on something. No one is perfect. We all know we've had to hard pivot. We all know we've had to dig deep during this time. But I think the word we kept going back to throughout the series, which is still very, very important now, is being resilient. And so I think folks had to really dig deep, and this is helping them be resilient even now. And so if you don't have that resiliency factor, kind of to your comment, you're probably forgetting to focus on work right now. You're probably forgetting to focus on what you need to focus on. And you're going to stumble into 2021 and you're going to be faced with a lot of competitors and businesses who have been focused on this. And you and I were talking before we came live, like this is a make or break at time. This is what sets us apart from our peers and our competitors and whoever else is out there. This is going to be the time period to do something big and to be that linchpin. I know we talked about that earlier, but to be the linchpin that really changes your industry or your business, or even just your nucleus, the nucleus around you. Change something, right? Be that resilient linchpin.
Yeah. I want to speak to that for a second because, a lot of us have heard the term linchpin, especially, if you've read Seth Godin's book or otherwise. But being a linchpin really requires us to step outside the lines of the box, right? It requires us to think differently, do differently, speak up, and listen to what's in our heart, listen to when we're being called for more, and really being very strategic and not reactive. So taking a step back now to, if we can remotivate, recharge, recommit, that's going to require some self-reflection right now. And based on what we think 2020 is going to be like, what can we put in place now to serve at our highest level in 2021? And how can we start having the conversations about that with clients now, even if they're ideas that others might not embrace. But if we've done the research, and we don't want to be flippant or reckless, but these are kind of based in data, based in facts, combined where the magic comes into play is if you can base some data, facts, and truth with your passion and then bring it out into the world. That's kind of where the magic happens. That's where linchpins are created, and that's where you're going to have lifers. And so this series is really about creating those heart-centered leaders that are going to go out and do that right now. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to partner with you guys. And if anyone is still interested in that, I would say for limited time only, through the next couple months, this entire series is posted up on State Street's website. You see it's scrolling down there. It's ssga.com/skilling up. Again, if you are in the financial services industry, this should help yourself, your team, and if you're not, you can check it out as well and be sure to share it with anyone in the financial services industry. Heather Bailey, thank you so much for all of your amazing work, for caring so deeply about what you do. If you're in the Eastern region and if someone that is looking for some support in the area of defined contribution, I can't think of anyone better that you should reach out to. Heather, it's been really an honor to work with you, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
I agree, Sheryl. Thank you so much.
Okay.